Hello. Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing well. I was talking to someone actually up here in the bar just in the last couple of weeks, and we were talking about marriage in the Philippines. After talking to these people, I decided to do a little bit of research about whether online marriage in the Philippines is actually legal. Alright, so there are various reasons why you might want to get married online. COVID has put a stop to so much. So far we've been in a holding pattern for around about 15 months, which is a crazy amount of time. Now, if you can imagine if February last year or March last year you were going to come over to the Philippines to meet your betrothed and get married here. COVID hits, you get stuck, you can't do anything. They want a big party, they want a lot of people there, they want all their friends there, and they can't actually get this happening. I did a little bit of research. Now, I want you guys to help me here. So if you've been married online, let me know. I really want to know about the process. I have checked it out a little bit, but I'm really curious about the processes, about what's happening, and about your reasons for getting married online as well. Look, throughout history, marriages of convenience or approved marriages or arranged marriages have been perfectly the norm. It really wasn't until the 40s and 50s that marriage for love became an advertising technique and also became some sort of real thing in our society. Marriage used to be because there was this weird, stupid inequality with ladies around the world where they needed to marry a man to have security and support. Now, right now, it may seem ridiculous, but back in the day, that was the norm. I mean, if you go online, you can search, 1950s, 1940s magazines to tell you about how to keep your man and crap like that, which is a really interesting thing in this day and age. We can look back at it and laugh and go, wow, that's strange. But if you cast your mind back, we're talking about, people getting married for security, people getting married for that support, getting two people together and not necessarily being married for love. Now, a lot of people might say that this is marriage of convenience, and they also sort of knock a lot of marriages or unions here in the Philippines or Thailand or anywhere else, like where there seems to be some sort of inequality in the marriage, as being some sort of marriage of convenience. Now, I also understand it here. Coming into Philippines is kind of interesting at the moment because you can't do it unless you're married to a Filipino, especially those people who planned to come here last year to actually get married. I'm genuinely interested in how you guys met, why you got online, what was the thought process, and how things went. A lot of the Filipinos, they're brought up in, a lot of poverty. There's not a lot for them to do. They can't even really go to school, and it can be a bit of an issue for them. And so what they're using is their skills and resources to maybe find a man or a woman to help and support them in what could be seen as a marriage of convenience, and then could grow into something that's loving later on. Both parties are getting something out of this. Now let's go to the legal side. Let's talk about Australia first. In Australia, let's pick on Australia first. In Australia, it's illegal to get married over Zoom or Skype. You, your two witnesses, and the marriage celebrant, priest, or whatever must be in the same place. You cannot get married online or on Skype. But there's this weird little, should I call it, loophole. If you get married overseas, and if that marriage certificate is legal and binding in the country that the marriage was taken place, or in the process that was made for that marriage, then Australia will recognize that marriage. Now, let's go to America just quickly. There are a few states in America, let's have a look at America, that are actually allowing marriage online. And they're seeing that marriages between two people are maybe being held up because of the coronavirus, and so it's actually legally accepted to get married online. Which means that if it's legally accepted to get married online there, and that marriage certificate is legal and binding, then wouldn't Australia then allow that marriage, even though it didn't take place with people together, that marriage would then be legal and binding? Now, I'm the legal person, I'm just thinking this through. So if I'm wrong, tell me, let me know. I'm glad to hear from you, but I'm just thinking about this from, the point of view of people trying to get married. Now, Philippines. Now, we're talking about a country where the government and the religion are very closely meshed together. And so things like divorce are illegal. You can get an annulment, but divorce is illegal. So marriage is, it's a sacred thing here in Philippines. It's beautiful, it's lovely. I'm so amazingly happy that I got married, and I never thought it would happen. I met my wife, beautiful lady. I met her online in Australia. We got together, 3 years later we're married. Amazing. What you then find is in the Philippines, the act of getting married online is actually illegal. You must be in the same place as the person solemnizing the marriage. If you get married overseas, if you get married and it's legal and binding in another country, you can then go and fill in the paperwork to report the Philippines marriage to the Philippines government, and that's legal and binding. So I'm just wondering if that's a loophole. Again, legal people, come and talk to me, throw it at me. I really want to know. There are a lot of, and have a look at all of these at the moment, there are a lot of people over the last year trying to get a bill pushed through the Philippines government to actually allow online marriage. Because they're seeing at the moment, there are a lot of people trying to get married, but they can't because of COVID. I mean, they can't travel from one place to another to actually get married. They can't have large groups of people getting married. And it's really, really sort of pressuring them to try other things. Now, the people that I met a young lady not too long ago, and she married a gentleman in Australia. Now they got married online, and she's now going through the process of organizing his 13A permanent visa. Now to come to Philippines. Now think about this as well. A lot of people wanted to come to Philippines last year, maybe to meet a girlfriend, maybe to meet somebody that they met online, or just to actually come here and retire. It doesn't really matter. And COVID's put a stop to that, so we have all of these people really sort of really want to get there, but they can't do it. Now, you can come here if you're married to a Filipino. You can come here if you have a senior citizens visa, but you cannot come here on a tourist visa at the moment. What I'm interested in is, did you get married online? I think it's an amazing idea for some people, and don't worry about all of those people that are, marriage of convenience and all that sort of thing. I really believe that even in a marriage of convenience, that both parties are getting something out of it. So really, let's just be honest about all of this. If you report the marriage, it's legal. You get a document saying that you're legally married in another country to this person, and then you can actually use that document to then go and get your other visas to be able to come to the country. Now, it's very tough to get out of Australia at the moment to come to Philippines, but if you have this, you can get exemptions and then you can travel. I know what's going to happen. I'm going to get all of these naysayers and people thinking I'm judging you. I'm not. I'm really interested in this. What I can see, let's just summarize what I can see, that it is illegal to get married online in the Philippines, as it is illegal to get married online in Australia. But both governments legally recognize certificates of marriage from countries if it's a legal and binding marriage certificate. Which then means if those countries have online wedding systems, maybe that's legal as well. And I'm genuinely curious about your thoughts about this.